Okay. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Awesome. That's great to hear. Are you guys having fun at Ignite? We hope to keep it that way in this session. So my name is Welicki. I'm the Vice President of Product and Chief Product Officer for Power Apps, and I'll be joined by Evan Liu, Director of Product in the Power Apps interface team, and together, today we are proud and excited to tell you all about building and running intelligent apps with Power Apps and AI. And the way in which we'll do it is we'll start with a brief intro about intelligent apps to level set and set some shared context. Then we will introduce a real-world business problem, and then we'll spend the rest of the time building, running, optimizing, and managing that solution that we created. And we will then wrap it up. So how does that sound? Perfect. Let's go for it then. And I like starting with Microsoft's mission of empowering every person and organization in the planet to achieve more. Because I do personally believe that Power Apps, Copilot, and agents are one of the best ways to make that mission a reality. But speaking of achieving more, according with IDC, there will be 1 billion new applications that will be created by 2028. So that's a lot of applications. And whether those applications are created because of new business needs or to modernize existing apps with AI, or both, we want to be the technology that empowers every person and organization to build those apps. And fundamentally, every app will be reinvented with AI, and new apps that before we thought that were not possible will be today possible, either because we could not do it because of the technology or because they were not economically viable. So those apps of the future are going to be looking very different than the apps that we have today. And at the core of that change, of that transformation, is Copilot, which is transforming how we are going to build those applications and what those applications do. And that's what we will see in the rest of this session. That transformation for Power Apps manifests in intelligent applications. And there are two key notions about intelligent applications that I want to share with you all. The first one, every app that is intelligent will have a brain. And I know that this sounds very generic, very abstract, but in fact it's very specific and very concrete and super simple. Every app will have a Copilot and a set of agents in Copilot Studio behind the scenes that is going to be what powers all their intelligence. And the reason why that's awesome is because that intelligence will not only be observable, but you will be able to extend it to adjust to the needs of your scenario and your businesses. The second notion is, the second notion is that when you're using intelligent apps, every human, aside of having like the Copilot that is their intelligent and personal assistant, they will have a set of agents that will be there to help them achieve their goals. So every single human participating in the app lifecycle, be it a maker making an app, a user using the app, or an admin managing the app, it's kind of promoted to be the manager of sets of agents that are working together to help them achieve their goal more efficiently. And in this world where every app is an intelligent app, there are three key principles that I want to share with you guys before we go to introducing our problem. The first one is that intelligent applications have personalized experiences. So no more one-size-fits-all. Intelligent apps know about you and can adapt to you and your needs. The second one is intelligent assistance. So you will have intelligent features that will work in the flow of work and will meet your users when and where they need it. And sometimes you will find users interacting with agents in ways that they will get their problem solved, but they will not be able to tell that it was an agent, the one who helped them solve the problem. And last but not least, autonomous workflows. So say goodbye to repetitive tasks, and you can use autonomous agents to automate those tasks that you need to do over and over again, so you can focus on what's really important, that is adding value to your business. And we believe that these three things are going to drive end users to be faster and save time, smarter and understand better what's going on around them, and also ultimately be happier because they have to do less manual tasks and can do their job more efficiently. And to drive the point home, I want to use a metaphor, an analogy. And I'm going to bring up my first car. And I'm sure that if I ask all of you about your first car, you will all remember it fondly. My first car was a 1997 Renault 19. I'm originally from Argentina. Back then, this car was awesome. I still believe it is. This one in the picture was not mine, by the way. I took better care of it. But it had power windows. So I pushed the button, and the windows would go up and down. At the time, you had to roll them out, for the ones who are old enough to remember that. It had very basic cruise control, so I didn't need to have my foot on the gas when I was on the highway. And I installed an aftermarket 6-CD player, so I could load my entire playlist before I get into a trip. It was pretty cool back in the day. Now the question is, how do we go from that car, that antique, that relic of a car nowadays, that vintage car, to the full level 5 automation cars that the industry of the cars is going towards? And the answer, we're not going to go in a single discrete step, but rather with multiple iterations. For example, adding insights. Cars added more sensors. They know more about their surroundings. So they can use those insights to provide assistance to the driver. For example, if I'm going to depart a lane, the car will let me know with a beep. And of course, as I'm getting in a highway, I can get a better cruise control, adaptive cruise control, so it can control the distance between my car and other cars and do some basic maneuvering. So as you could see, there's that iterative nature of the process where on every step, it's getting closer to that vision. And we believe that we are going to apply the same process to take the apps of today and make them autonomous applications. And what you're going to see today in this session is a huge step forward towards getting closer on that journey. And we are at the time now where we are ready to introduce our business problem. And the customer that we are going to be solving the problem for is no one else than Microsoft. But not any team at Microsoft. It is actually the Power Apps team at Microsoft. And what you're seeing here is a picture of Building 7. That is where our team lives in the main campus in Redmond. And the problem that we have is related also to this conference. So as we build all these features, we have great engineering practices in place. But how about disclosing a set of features in a way that they make sense to the audience, from a marketing perspective, from a storytelling perspective, etc. So basically, that's a place where, like many of you, we didn't have much time. We have good tools, but we didn't have much time to set the right process. So we ended up using an Excel file and a bunch of emails all around to keep the status updated, and also a lot of team messages, a lot of manual work to ultimately be able to track the set of things that we're going to show you today. We believe that with Power Apps and with intelligent apps, we can do way much better. So that's what we are going to solve collectively in the remainder of this session. And this is how we are going to do it. This is kind of like the map of the solution that we will create. So our starting point is Excel files, a lot of emails floating around, a lot of Teams messages. We will use the plan designer, and we will create like a full solution. We will describe what we want, and that will help us create our overall solution that will include the data model in a relational database in Dataverse, the copilot and agents supporting the intelligent apps, and of course, all of this is going to be in a managed environment. So admins will have more visibility and more control over what's going on. And although our solution will have multiple components, there are two that I want to focus on for the remainder of the session. One is a data entry application that is going to be a model-driven app, which is going to be an intelligent app. And we will have agents that are going to help us with the main tasks that you do with the app around entering data, finding data, etc. The other app is an app to review the plans and to make quick updates. That is going to be a Canvas app. And also is going to be an intelligent app, and we are going to add autonomous agents to help us make the work more automated and faster. So with that said, we are ready to move to the demo part of the session. We will go through all these cycles. I'll start with the first, that is build, and we'll show you how we can go from an idea and a problem to building a full solution with the plan designer. And with the plan designer, when you create, I'm not sure, how many of you, quick show of hands, tried Power Apps copilots in the past? In the past, in the past, with Copilot, you would create a single application. With the plan designer, sorry about that, with the plan designer, you give a description of a business problem, and we will help you to create a full solution for that business problem. And the creation of this solution started in a meeting room with Evan and I discussing. We discussed what did we need to do. And basically, I asked him to send me an email with a quick note of the summary of the discussion. So this is what we are going after. A software development team needs to manage a list of projects with a disclosure event and supports tracking of regular status updates for each project. Admin will use an app to manage the list of projects. The admin will assign an owner. The owner will create a Canvas app to update the status every 2 weeks, and the stakeholders will receive weekly emails. And of course, if you ever work with anyone at Microsoft or been at our offices, we love whiteboards. Everything is a whiteboard, so we have a whiteboard image of an entity relationship model that we want to use for the solution. So with that, what I'll do is I'm going to copy this description as is. I'm going to give it to the plan designer. I'm going to attach the image, and with just this information, the plan designer will go ahead and understand the problem that I'm giving, and will engage the first of the agents that are going to help me solve the problem, which is the scenarios agent, or what I call the functional analyst agent, which basically it will identify who are the personas that will participate in this solution, who they are, and what do they want to do. So what are their jobs to be done, their main use cases. So you will end up with a functional document that has all these personas, who they are, and their goals. Of course, the document is not set in stone. I can have a discussion, a conversation, collaboration with that agent. So I could go ahead and I could change it. For example, I realize that I have project admin, project owner, and stakeholder, but I don't have marketing. So I'm going to ask to add a marketing persona that needs to receive periodic updates. And again, with that new information, the agent will go ahead and reevaluate the personas that it has and refactor all those responsibilities among them and add the new persona that I asked for. And remember, this goes back to that notion that we were saying that everyone using intelligent apps is the manager of a set of agents. So at this point, it will come back with a set of personas. Once I am good with that, with the outcome of what the Copilot gives me, I am ready to engage the next agent. And as you could see, we got the marketing persona. So I'm ready to move forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to advance the process. And now we will engage the next agent, that is the data modeling agent. And what this agent will do is, with all this information, it will create a database model to solve the problem. And it takes about like 50 seconds, so I have one pre-created for convenience. But what it did is not only define a set of tables, a database model to solve the problem, but create an entity relationship diagram for those tables, where I can see the tables with their relationships and how are they related. And for each table, not only, let me see, I'm going to try with this other one so I can show it to you. So you can see the entity relationship diagram of all the tables. And not only I have the tables, but every table is populated with sample data, which is pretty cool because, as you know, creating a model is hard. Populating it with sample data is super tedious. Copilot did it. The data modeling agent did it in a few seconds. And once I am happy with the data model, I can accept it and proceed to engage the next agent that is going to be the solution architect. And what it will do is it will define all the elements that I need, the different pieces that I need to solve the business problem. And in this case, it determined 4 things: a project management model-driven app, a project status update Canvas app, a weekly project update Power Automate flow, and a marketing update flow. And at this point, I have my solution fully ready. I can save this. This is a document that I can come back later to. And at this stage, I'm ready to engage the next agent that is the one that will translate each one of these elements into their implementation. As you could see here, I have, in interest of time, pre-created some of those artifacts. For Canvas, I will get a basic Canvas application with a starter page, like a menu page, and one screen for each one of the tables that are interactable that have been created. And again, this is a starter application. We also do the same for model. You get a model-driven app. But I want to fast forward, let's say, a few hours, where I took this application and I made a few changes. So I made it look nicer. And in this case, we have the same application, but updated with modern controls. And the Copilot, even though we finished working with the plan designer, Copilot and agents are still there to help me achieve my goals. One thing that I want to do in this case, I want to change these labels. So basically, if anything is blocked, I want it to be red. And if anything is completed, I wanted to see it green. So I wanted to make it more glanceable. I don't need to know how to write power effects. In fact, I can select this. I could find the font color property. And I can ask the Copilot to create me a formula using everyday words. And just by asking this in plain English, the agent that understands power effects will go ahead and create the formula for me, which I can apply, and it just works. Not only I can use that agent to write any power effects and use natural language to be the language in which I write my application, but if somebody else wrote an expression that is complex I cannot understand, I can ask the agent to explain it to me. For example, in this case, if I go to the gallery, you see I have a data source property, which is pretty complex. I don't want to read it, neither understand it, so I can ask the Copilot to explain this to me, and it will go ahead, analyze it, and explain it in natural language. Even including the fact that I have a delegation error and explaining me what it is and potential ways to fix it. So with that, we are done with making our application, and it's time to move on to use the application. And for that, I'm going to call Evan to stage that is going to show you how to run it, optimize it, and all the rest of the steps.
Great. Thank you, Leon. So Leon's my boss at Microsoft, and he's a great boss. In the run-up to Ignite, he was asking me to update this feature tracker that he just built for Big Deadline. And of course, I completely forgot about it until the very last minute. I'm sure this has never happened to any of you ever before. And I was super stressed because I didn't want to let Leon down. So over the next 20 minutes, I want to show you how the agents in intelligent apps saved my bacon. So let me switch here to the demo machine. And actually, I'm going to give you a little bit of context here before we dig into that, and tell you a bit about business apps. So business apps have been around for a while, and over the last 30 years, they've changed a lot. But there's still a lot of routine tasks that you do in business apps, whether that's data entry or data reporting, that's very manual, very repetitive. In fact, McKinsey estimates that in 60% of occupations, at least a third of activities can be automated. So how often are you retyping information from an Excel spreadsheet into an app? Or how often are you fumbling with the filters in an app to figure out what the right records are? Or reaching out to everyone on the team to ask them for their updates to only retype them back into the app. And so with these agents built into intelligent apps, a lot of these routine tasks become a lot easier and faster. So this is the model-driven app that Leon had built through the Plan Designer. And you can see these are a bunch of the projects that we were tracking for different disclosure events. And I'm going to go ahead and just create a new project here. And there are a lot of fields. Just refresh the browser. There are a bunch of fields that I need to fill out manually, and it would have taken me a lot of time to do this myself. But with the data entry agent, you can just see that 3 of these fields just showed up. And this is based on my recent activity, things I was entering into other records before. So I'm going to go ahead and just accept these 3 suggestions. So 3 fields down, maybe about 15 or 20 more to go. I actually have a Word document with a lot of information that I actually want in this app. And it's describing the data entry agent that I'm demoing to you right now. It describes the problem, it describes the business value, it tells you more about the feature. There are a bunch of resources here at the bottom. And normally I would have to retype all of that information into the form, right? I need a feature name here, I need the business value, but I can actually just add this Word document. I'm going to go to Downloads here, and I'm going to add this to the app. And so what the data entry agent is doing, I'm not typing anything, it's actually analyzing all of that content from that Word document and finding the right fields to insert things. Yes, you can clap. it's inserting all of the right content into the specific field. So let's double check, right? Don't take my word for it. Let's double check here. So I'm going to bring up the Word document, and I'll show you side by side. The feature name is a data entry agent, and this pulled from the top of the document. The business value is enable users to save time filling forms out faster. And if we zoom in here, you can see business value is enable users to save time filling forms out faster. Let's actually look at some of these links here. So if we scroll down here, it got the demo video is microsoft.com/demo video. And in the document, we actually say the demo video is captured here. So it's doing a pretty good job. Let's look at this one field here called latest status. Now, the interesting thing is the Word document doesn't say anything about status. It doesn't include the word on track. But what it does include is a phrase here about so far this project is on course. Let's see, let me scroll over here. This project is on course to be completed on time. And so what the data entry agent has done is it's inferred that the latest status should equal on track. And so it's not going to get everything right all of the time, right? So in this case here, you can see that Leon was set as the primary contact, but he is actually simply the sponsor. So you can see the document says Leon is the sponsor. But none of these fields are set until I accept them. These are all suggestions. So it's very easy for me to validate from the citations, and I can change this to I'm actually the owner here. And I'm going to enter that. So the data entry agent's filled out a bunch of fields. I have a bunch of dates now that I need to fill out. And I actually have a PowerPoint slide with those dates. So you can see here, it's a pretty busy slide. There's a lot of information here, and I only want very specific information to put into the app. So I'm going to take a screenshot here of these first two rows, and we're going to go back to the app. So all of that was just an image in the clipboard, and I'm going to hit paste, and I'm not typing anything. We'll see if this works. This is all live running code. So the data entry agent is going to extract the text from that image, and it's just pasted those dates into those 4 fields. And so this has saved me a ton of time. You know, what would have taken me 15, 20 minutes has just taken me about 5 minutes. So let's check to make sure that this is right. So I'm going to do this side by side. And you can see here that the target date is December 14th. Let's see if we can look for the date here. And it says, indeed, December 14th. The start date is February 18th. It says the start date is February 18th. And so you can see the data entry agent's even able to handle different date formats here as well. So just to quickly recap, this data entry agent's able to take these multiple sources, whether it was my most recently used activity, or whether it was this Word document, or whether it was the clipboard data, to help me fill this form out faster. And in fact, we ran a study, let me pull that up here, with some information workers, and half of them were using the data entry agent, half were not, and those who were ended up filling forms out 29% faster than those who did not. 95% of them preferred to use it with AI assistance. So we can't wait for you all to try this for yourself. This will be rolling out over the next few weeks for model-driven apps. All you have to do is turn it on in the Power Platform Admin Center. So the first job that Leon asked me to do, I've done, which is adding a bunch of new projects to the app. The other thing that he asked me to do was to check on any of the features that were at risk for these big disclosure events. So normally what I have to do with a grid with over 50 records is that I'd have to go to the filters, I'd have to add a new group here, I'd have to say disclosure event equals ignite, and I'd say or, and you get the idea. It's very cumbersome, very manual, but with the data exploration agent, I can just type with natural language. So I'm going to say features for ignite or PPCC, which is our Power Platform Community Conference. And what the data exploration agent is going to do here, it's going to look for the right column, which is disclosure event, and it's set it to the value of ignite or PPCC. Now let's actually iterate on this. Let's say features that are blocked or at risk for Ignite or PPCC. And again, the data exploration agent's able to translate that natural language to the latest status column, and let's say from interface or scale teams. And again, I'm able to iterate here using natural language. I can even sort. So if I wanted, I could sort that by target date, for example. So I'm actually going to click into one of these records, so AI record summaries, just to take a closer look at this. And there's a lot of information here in the form, but thanks to the summary agent, I can actually get an AI-generated summary of that record. So I can see that 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗸𝗀𝗃 is the contact. It's, the date here is December 12th. Let me just refresh this here. You can see the date. You can see what this record is all about. And it is running 8 days behind. Now, it's very important that our customers are able to customize each of these agents. So I'm going to show you briefly how you can do that. And so if I go here as a maker to the maker portal, I can see that there's a project here. And I can edit the row summary. And you can see this is the summary. This is the prompt for the summary. So basically, it's saying summarize the current project in a way that's easy to understand and do it in 2 different paragraphs. The first paragraph summarize these values, and in the second paragraph summarize this value here as well. So for example, there's this information here about how far behind the project is running. I actually don't care that much about it, so I'm going to remove that from the prompt. I'm going to go ahead and apply that to the main form. And we're going to wait for it to save, and then see if the summary actually adjusts when I go back to it. So we're going to give it a second here to save. We're going to go back. I'm going to hit refresh on the summary. And hopefully we should see a shorter summary that's a little easier for me to parse. And yes, indeed, that sentence about how far behind the project was running is not there anymore. So you get the idea here. You can edit this. You can add as many instructions or as few instructions as you want and tailor it for your own needs. So I'm going to switch back to the deck here. We talked about the data entry agent, how it was saving a ton of time to fill new forms out faster. The data exploration agent that helps me find the specific records that I'm looking for. The summary agent that lets me see at a glance the records that I'm looking at. We talked a little bit about customizing these agents. I want to spend a little bit more time on that. Because even though my customization of that summary prompt was useful for me, how do I know it's actually useful for everyone else in the organization? And so this is where we were going to talk about the optimize step. And this is where the monitoring hub comes in. So let me pull that up to show you what that looks like. So this is the brand new monitoring hub in the Maker portal. This is one place for makers to go to assess the health of their apps. And so you can see the performance of the app. You can see the reliability of the app. I can click into one of these apps here. And it looks like this app maybe isn't doing so well. About half the time it's opening. There might be a permissions issue that we need to diagnose here. You can drill into the performance of it. And so starting in January, you'll also be able to use the monitoring hub to assess the health of agents in Power Apps. So you'll be able to see for the summary agent, how often are people expanding that summary or collapsing it, giving you an idea of how useful it is and how you need to edit the prompt. You'll be able to assess the health of the data entry agent. So you'll be able to see how many people are accepting those AI suggestions and customize that agent for your needs as well. And so I'll give you another example here, which is around chat. So we've had this sidecar chat in apps for a little while now, and it allows you to ask questions about data in the app. So here I'm going to ask, what is the target date for AI record summaries? And so this chat agent's now going to look up this information from the data in the app, and it pulls back. It says, oh, it looks like the target date is December 4th. I can click here to verify that indeed it is December 4th. And so this agent also has been customized to know things about Ignite. And so we've customized it so I can actually ask, when is Leon Welicki's Microsoft Ignite session? And because this agent has been customized with information about the Microsoft Ignite website, it's able to pull back, oh, it's at 11 o'clock right now. I can even ask it, what Microsoft Ignite sessions talk about intelligent apps? And it's pulling back 2 different sources, so I'm going to pick this one here. So you can see not only can I ask it questions about data in the app, but because it's been customized with knowledge about Ignite, it's able to pull that information back. So you can see that this is the session that you're at now, BRK172. There's another session tomorrow that Matt Hittinger and Anthony are doing that will go more in depth on some of these end-user AI capabilities that you won't want to miss. So how did all of that get configured? Well, all of that got configured in the agent using Copilot Studio. So this is the agent, the chat agent that we were just talking to. And so if you go to the Knowledge tab, you can see that this Ignite website was added as a source for that agent. So I'm able to ask it questions about the agent. So let's switch back to our phases. We talked about how intelligent apps can be built, how they can be run, how they can be optimized. We're next going to talk about automation, because all of these agents were fantastic in helping me get my work done ahead of the deadline. I was happy, Leon was happy, everything was good. But that got us thinking on the team. It's great that the agents can help me with AI assistance, but what if we could go further? What if we go to level 2 or level 3 automation like Leon was talking about to actually automate specific workflows around that app? Because even with the app, it's easy to now enter data, but someone was manually contacting all of the feature owners to ask them for the latest status, so they could either enter it directly into the app or for someone to retype it in. And that seems like a great candidate for an autonomous agent. So I'm going to show you how we were able to create that agent from the app. Because the app, we don't have to start from scratch. The app already has the UI, which means it knows what data needs to be entered. It already has the data connections. It has the business logic. And so we can get a lot further ahead by creating this agent from the app. So I'm going to go here to look for the app, and here's the app. I'm going to click on this and say Create Agent from App. And so what it's going to do here is it's going to suggest a bunch of workflows in the app that I can automate. So I can either filter and sort features or submit feature updates. And so this is exactly what I want to do. I want this agent to automate the submission of feature updates and answer some questions. So I'm going to hit Next here. And what this is going to do is going to take that description and the UI from the app and the data connections and the business logic, and it's going to create step-by-step instructions for what the agent needs to do. So these are all the different steps that the agent needs to do. I can always modify, edit, change any of these. It's going to take a few minutes to create the agent, so I'm going to show you one that I just created earlier. So this is the agent that was generated from that app. You can see there are instructions that were created from that description and from the business logic. You can see the knowledge that was added to that agent. So this is a project updates wiki. This is a project table. And these are actions from that app. So this is update project status and notes. And then we also added some triggers. So we want this agent to collect updates every week. So reach out to all the feature owners, ask them for updates. And then whenever a feature owner sends an email to ask a question or provide an update, we want the agent to be able to reply and act on that as well. So let's give it a try here. I'm going to test this agent, and I'm going to say, update the agent oversight project to at risk. And so what the agent's going to do is it's now going to dynamically plan based on its instructions, based on its knowledge, based on its actions. And it's going to ask here, oh, what are the latest notes about the project? So let's say the latest notes about the project are that the bug count is too high. And so now it's going to, again, dynamically plan. It's going to go through its instructions, and it will reply with what it did. So it said the status of the agent oversight project has been updated to at risk with the latest notes. So let's actually verify that this is the case. So we're going to go to our list of features, and this is the agent oversight feature, and it was showing on track earlier, but if we refresh here, let's see if the status gets updated. And yes, indeed, you can see that the status was updated to at risk. If I click into it and look at the latest update, you can see the notes here. The latest note about the project is that the bug count is too high. So you can imagine an email exchange back and forth between the agent and the feature owners, and all of this manual work that me or folks on my team had to do can now be automated by this agent. And not only can the agent do this, but it's really important for end users to also be able to oversee these agents. Just like a manager might need to oversee the work of an individual contributor, it's important that anyone running these agents can also oversee the work of these agents. And so if we go back here to our grid of features, I'm going to click on See Agent Activity, and you can actually see that this agent sent out 21 emails over the last 7 days. 13 records were modified, and it looks like there's one that actually needs my review. You can see the little information icon here. I'll zoom in. It just tells me that there's some assistance that's required. And because agents aren't perfect, there are going to be times when it needs your intervention, it needs your assistance. And so I can look at the history of this agent, I can click into it, and it looks like that the project owner wanted to update the ETA and the disclosure status, and I need to now intervene. So I can edit that record, I can mark it as complete, and the agent can now proceed with the other steps that it had planned. So if we switch back to the deck here, we've talked about how you can build intelligent apps, how you can run intelligent apps, how you can optimize them, how you can automate workflows in that app. But none of this really scales beyond a nice demo unless IT can govern all of these intelligent apps. And this is why we're really excited to announce the general availability of the Copilot Hub for Power Platform. Let me show you this at work here. So this here is the Copilot Hub in the Power Platform Admin Center, and it's a one-stop shop for IT admins to have resources, visibility, and control to make the most of all of this AI innovation. And so you can see here in this first section, in the readiness section, you get FAQs, you get white papers, you get best practices, so you can build your governance plan to make the most of these AI capabilities safely and securely. You can see in the usage section here, this gives you a quick glance at how Copilot's being adopted in your organization, broken down by different features. In the governance section here, you can get granular controls, so you can set up the right guardrails and you can monitor compliance. And then you can see here in the content moderation section, the responsible AI filters at work, blocking, for example, harmful content and prompt injections. And so we think this is going to be a great way for organizations to be able to use and make the most of this AI innovation safely and securely. Now, before I hand it back to Leon, I just want to close with one quick slide here. We get a lot of questions about data and AI and concerns. Are you going to use my data to train ChatGPT? And the short answer is no. Your data is your data. Your data doesn't leave the Microsoft Cloud tenant. Your data is not being used to train any of these models. Well, we have extensive prompt policies and responsible AI filters to keep your data safe and secure. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Leon to wrap things up.
Thank you very much, Evan. That was wonderful. And remember that a few minutes ago, we talked about how Copilot is transforming how you build and what you build. And I hope that what we saw in the last few minutes is a really good example of what that means very concretely. You saw in terms of how you build. With the Plan Designer, we went from a business problem to a full business solution that goes beyond an application. Or we could create agents with the agent builder in the context of an application. The things that we build, all these apps that are infused with agents that help customers in the flow of work to accomplish their goals, or even like the governance capabilities of all the solutions that we create. So every intelligent app is enterprise ready and safe to use in enterprise environments. So if we go back also to the car metaphor, probably we could equate that this is what we had, and with the latest updates, probably we updated, or I updated my car from the one that I had to the one that I have now. But of course, this is not the last car that I will have, and the car industry also is moving all the time forward, and so we are. But we are in the fast lane, so expect a lot of updates from us constantly, but the most important is that this journey that we are in, we cannot do it alone. We need to go together on this journey. And I would love to invite every one of you to try all these features, build intelligent applications, give us feedback, let us know what is working, what is not working, what do you like, what we can do better, because this is a journey that we want to do and we need to do together. And I want to end with one note that the innovators in intelligent applications, the ones that are going to build the great next intelligent applications, probably sitting in this room, in the audience of this session. And we are very much looking forward to be a key partner as you are modernizing your applications into the AI era through intelligent apps. So with that, this is all that we have to cover today. We are super excited about intelligent apps. I want to reiterate the call to action to try them. Let us know how it goes, and invite you to see the rest of the sessions at Ignite, where we are going to go more in depth in many of these topics. And as always, looking forward to hear from every one of you, and can't wait to see the intelligent apps that you all build. So thanks, everyone. And by the way, if you want to learn more, we have a blog post here that has some details of the features that we disclosed today. And just finishing by thanking everyone for your time and looking forward to hearing from you all. Thank you.